Do me a favor. Stop whatever you're doing just for a second and look at the inside of your wrist right now.
Done. I'm looking at mine.
See those subtle lines running just beneath the skin? They look blue, right? Or maybe kind of greenish blue, depending on the light.
Yep, they're definitely there. A little network of blue lines, very clearly blue.
Those are your veins. And that color, the blue you see, is the entire reason we're here today. We are diving into a paradox that has stumped people for ages. If you cut yourself, the blood that comes out is red. A deep, vibrant crimson. It's always red.
Always.
So why, when it's inside your body, does the whole system appear to be painted blue?
It's one of those questions you just sort of stop asking after grade school. You just accept it.
Exactly, but you shouldn't. Because this isn't a simple biology question at all. This is a massive, walking, talking optical illusion, and we're going to unpack the physics, the history, and some really surprising medical implications behind it.
Wait, hold on a second. I have to jump in. Are you telling me the blue line I'm looking at right here on my arm isn't actually blue?
Not even a little bit.
So my own body has been lying to my eyes my entire life?
That's exactly what I'm saying. You, me, everyone listening. We've been tripped by a conspiracy of light, skin, and depth. We're about to rewrite everything you thought you knew about your own circulatory system.
Okay, I'm ready. This sounds like it's going to be a wild ride.
To really get it, we first have to just completely destroy the biggest myth of them all. Let's start with the absolute core truth. Human blood is always red.
Always.
The idea that deoxygenated blood is blue is probably one of the most stubborn scientific lies out there.
It's incredible how deep it runs. And, it doesn't help that when you have blood drawn, the stuff in the vial is a much darker color than, say, a paper cut.
Right. And that difference in hue is what keeps the myth alive. The color of our blood comes from this amazing protein called hemoglobin. It's in our red blood cells, and it's got iron in it.
And that iron is what grabs onto oxygen. The specific shade of red we see depends entirely on whether that iron has oxygen attached to it or not.
So when blood is leaving the lungs, full of oxygen, this is arterial blood, the hemoglobin is bright. It absorbs blue-green light and reflects this really vibrant scarlet red.
The kind of bright red you see in movies or, medical dramas.
Exactly. But now, when that blood drops off its oxygen to your tissues and starts heading back to the heart, that's the venous blood. This is the stuff everyone thinks turns blue.
But it doesn't. What happens is, without the oxygen, the hemoglobin molecule changes shape just a tiny bit. It's still red because of the iron, but it's a much darker sort of deep maroon or a dark reddish purple.
It's lost its brilliance, but it's not a different color. It's just a different shade of red.
So if you draw blood from a vein, like in a blood test, what you're holding is a tube of dark, thick, reddish liquid. It is never, ever blue. For us to have blue blood, we'd need a completely different chemistry, something based on copper, like horseshoe crabs have.
But we're iron-based, and iron means red. So the takeaway here is absolute. Leaving the heart or returning to it, your blood is always red.
Okay, so if the blood isn't blue, where did this massive lie come from?
Well, it's a two-pronged attack on the truth. First up is what you learned in school.
The medical diagrams.
The medical diagrams. The ones with the bright red arteries and the bright blue veins.
Right, I can picture them now. It's visual code, isn't it? It's just meant to show you which way the blood is flowing and whether it's oxygenated or not.
It's a fantastic teaching tool. High contrast, super clear. But after years of seeing that blue tube on the page, our brains just went, okay, veins are blue.
It's like a subway map. This is our mandatory analogy for this part.
Yes, the subway map. The map shows a blue line, but when you go down to the platform, the tracks aren't painted blue, they're just steel and concrete.
But if all you ever saw was the map, you'd swear the tracks themselves were blue. We did the same thing with our own bodies. We believed the map, not the territory.
But the myth is even older than that. We also have to talk about where the phrase blue blood comes from.
The aristocracy.
Exactly. Sangre azul, the Spanish term for the nobility. This idea propped up the myth for centuries, and it all came down to social class.
Right. The nobles, they spent all their time indoors. They didn't do manual labor out in the sun, so they were pale. Extremely pale.
And paleness was a status symbol. It meant you didn't have to work in the fields like the peasants, who were all tanned.
And on very pale, translucent skin, what do you see more clearly?
The veins. The optical illusion we're about to explain is way more pronounced, so they literally had more prominent blue lines on their skin than the working class.
Which led to this whole elitist idea that they were physiologically different, that their blood was a superior blue color. It was all a class distinction based on a trick of the light.
And there's an even weirder, darker footnote to this. A rare medical condition called argyria.
Oh, this is a fascinating one. Argyria is what happens when you have chronic exposure to silver, like from old-timey medicines that use colloidal silver.
And it would literally turn your skin a grayish-blue color. Permanently.
Yeah, the chemistry is wild. The silver particles deposit in your skin, and when light hits them, they basically tarnish, just like silverware. It creates these tiny deposits of silver sulfide.
Which are dark blue-gray.
So you had a few people, often wealthy people, who could afford these weird remedies, literally turning blue. It just added more fuel to the fire of the blue blood myth.
Okay, so we've killed the myth. Blood is red. Diagrams are a code. So again, why does my vein look blue right now?
This is where we leave biology behind and enter the world of optical physics.
The quest begins.
And the first thing we have to do is stop thinking of skin as like a simple sheet of paper. It's not. It's a multi-layered, incredibly complex filter. The key word here is turbid.
Turbid, like muddy water, you mean? Light doesn't just pass straight through it.
Exactly. Once a photon of light hits your skin, its journey gets very chaotic. It's governed by two competing processes. Absorption, which is when the light's energy gets soaked up and converted to heat.
Okay, so the light is just gone.
And scattering, which is when the light particle hits something microscopic and bounces off in a completely random new direction.
So it's a pinball machine. Absorption is losing your ball. Scattering is hitting the bumpers.
That's a great way to put it. And the light has to run this gauntlet. It goes through the epidermis, where melanin is the main thing absorbing it, then into the dermis, where all the scattering happens off of things like collagen fibers. And that's where the vein is sitting.
And the whole secret to this illusion is that not all light is treated equally by this pinball machine.
That's the critical piece of the puzzle. White light from the sun or a lamp contains all the colors of the rainbow.
Right.
Right. But those colors have different wavelengths. Blue light has a very short wavelength. Red light has a very long wavelength.
And that's the difference that matters. This is where we get into differential penetration. Let's use our analogies here.
Let's do the forest analogy. Imagine your skin is a super dense forest. We're sending two hikers in, red light and blue light.
Red light is our tough, experienced hiker. It has a long stride, a long wavelength. It can step over all the little roots and rocks and penetrate deep into the woods, all the way to that vein sitting deep inside.
It's the bowling ball.
Ah.
It just plows right through the pins of the skin's upper layers.
Now, blue light is the timid hiker. It has a short little stride, a short wavelength. It gets to the edge of the forest, sees all the dense trees and bushes right at the surface, and immediately gets scattered and confused. It basically runs straight back out.
It's the ping pong ball. It hits the surface layer and bounces right off. It barely makes it into the forest at all.
So the core idea is red goes deep, blue stays shallow. And that difference in depth is everything.
And this isn't just a nice idea. It was scientifically proven in 1996 by a team led by Alwin Kienle. They published a landmark paper called "Why Do Veins Appear Blue? A New Look at an Old Question."
So they were the detectives who finally cracked the case. How did they do it?
Well, they couldn't just, look. They had to build a complex computer model of human skin. They used something called Monte Carlo simulations.
So they built a digital arm.
Pretty much. And then they shot millions of virtual photons, red ones, blue ones, green ones, into this digital skin and tracked where every single one went. Did it get absorbed by blood? Did it get scattered out?
That sounds incredibly complicated.
It is. And then they analyzed the light that managed to escape back out of the skin using spectroscopy, which is basically a fancy way of saying they decoded the rainbow. They could see the exact ratio of red light versus blue light that was reflected back from the area right above a vein.
And what did their models show?
It confirmed the visual trick. The amount of blue light coming back wasn't necessarily huge, but the amount of red light coming back from that specific spot was almost zero. It was missing.
Which brings us to the discovery, the heist.
The heist. This is the mic drop moment.
Okay, get ready for it. The reason your vein looks blue is not because it's reflecting blue light. It's because the dark red blood deep inside the vein is stealing the red light before it can make it back to your eye.
It's a subtraction effect. You see blue because the red light was taken out of the equation.
Let's follow the paths again. Blue light hits the skin. What happens?
It immediately gets scattered like crazy by the structures in the epidermis. This is a famous bit of physics called Rayleigh scattering.
Rayleigh scattering. That's the same reason the sky is blue, right?
The exact same principle. The rule is that scattering is inversely proportional to the wavelength to the fourth power.
Whoa. Okay. In English, please.
Right. In simple terms, the shorter the wavelength, the more it scatters. And not just a little more, but exponentially more. Blue light, with its short wavelength, scatters about 9 times more effectively than red light.
And what's it scattering off of in the skin?
These tiny little collagen fibrils in the epidermis, they are the perfect size to just throw that blue light in every direction. So the blue light gets reflected back to your eye very quickly, having only been in the very top layer of your skin.
So it never even gets close to the vein.
Never. Now, red light, the robust hiker, it powers past that superficial scattering layer and goes deep, down to where the vein is.
And then the heist happens.
The heist. The red light hits the vein, which is full of that dark maroon deoxygenated blood. And that specific kind of hemoglobin is an incredibly efficient absorber of red light. It just eats it, annihilates the red photons.
So the red light makes the long journey down and never comes back.
Exactly. Kienle's big conclusion was that the blue color we see isn't more blue light being reflected. It's a huge decrease in red light being reflected compared to the skin next to it. Our brain sees that lack of red, combines it with a little bit of scattered blue, and interprets the result as blue.
Wow, this is where the ocean analogy comes in, and it makes perfect sense now.
It's a perfect analogy. A glass of water is clear. The deep ocean is blue. Why?
Because the water absorbs the long wavelength red light from the sun and scatters the short wavelength blue light back at you.
Your veins are little oceans under your skin. The skin and the blood work together to absorb the red light, leaving the scattered blue to return to your eye.
So are there things that can make this illusion stronger or weaker?
Absolutely. The anatomy is key. First, depth. This is the most important factor.
The deeper the vein.
The bluer it appears, because the red light has to travel a longer path to get there and back, which gives the blood more opportunity to absorb it.
Okay, what about the size of the vein? The radius?
Bigger veins also look bluer. A wider vein is just a bigger target for the red light to hit and get absorbed by. More absorption means a bigger red light deficit, which means a stronger blue illusion.
What about green veins? Sometimes mine look more green than blue.
Green is the in-between state. That usually happens with veins that are very, very shallow. The red light penetrates a little, but not deep enough to be fully absorbed. So you get a mix of the scattered blue light from the surface and some reflected yellowish light from a bit deeper, and your eye mixes those to see green.
And finally, skin tone. This has a huge effect, right?
A massive effect. Melanin, the pigment that determines skin tone, is a broadband filter.
Meaning it absorbs everything?
It absorbs all wavelengths of light, but it's especially good at absorbing the shorter ones, like blue. In darker skin tones, with more melanin, the blue light gets absorbed in the epidermis before it even has a chance to scatter off the collagen below.
So the illusion can't even get started.
Exactly. The melanin acts as a mask, absorbing the signal before the subtraction effect can happen. It's why the vein illusion is much less pronounced in individuals with darker skin.
So this whole thing, this amazing optical illusion, is more than just a cool party trick. Understanding this physics actually has huge real-world consequences, especially in medicine.
It really does, because the same principles of light absorption that make your veins look blue are used in critical medical devices. And sometimes this leads to serious problems.
Let's talk about the pulse oximeter. That's the little clip they put on your finger in the hospital.
Right, the one that measures your blood oxygen levels. It's a brilliant piece of technology that is basically using our blue vein physics, but in reverse. It's measuring what light gets through your finger, not what bounces back.
How does it do that?
It shines 2 very specific wavelengths of light through your fingertip. One is red light, around 660 nanometers, and the other is near infrared light, around 940 nanometers.
And why those two?
Because oxygenated and deoxygenated hemoglobin absorb those 2 colors very differently. Bright red oxygenated blood absorbs a lot of the red light, but lets the infrared light pass right through.
Okay.
Dark maroon, deoxygenated blood, does the opposite. It lets the red light pass through, but absorbs the infrared light.
So by measuring the ratio of how much red light versus infrared light makes it to the sensor on the other side, the machine can calculate your oxygen percentage.
Precisely. It's a beautiful application of physics, but it has a major flaw.
And I'm guessing that flaw is melanin?
It's melanin. We just established that melanin is a broadband filter that absorbs light. If the pulse oximeter's job is to measure how much light gets through, and the skin itself is absorbing a bunch of that light before it even reads the blood,
Reading is going to be off.
it can be very off. The data on this is really stark. In that specific range of light the device uses, dark skin can absorb up to 74% more light than light skin. The device's algorithm tries to correct for this, but it often fails.
What's the end result of that failure?
The device consistently overestimates the oxygen levels in patients with darker skin. This leads to a terrifying condition called occult hypoxemia.
Occult meaning hidden.
Hidden, it's when the patient's actual oxygen level is dangerously low, but the pulse oximeter shows a normal, healthy reading.
That's incredibly dangerous.
It is. Studies during the COVID-19 pandemic found it happened 3 times more often in Black patients than in white patients. It means delays in getting someone oxygen or putting them on a ventilator, all because a fundamental medical device has a built-in bias based on the physics of skin and light.
The same physics that makes veins look blue is causing a massive healthcare disparity.
It is, and it highlights the general challenge of trying to use light to see inside the body. Light loss is enormous. In just the top 2 millimeters of skin, you can lose up to 97% of the light you shine on it.
That's an incredible amount of loss.
So the goal for medical engineers is to find the optical window, the perfect wavelength of light that can penetrate the deepest with the least amount of absorption and scattering.
And where is that window?
The research is clear. It's in the near-infrared spectrum, at wavelengths even longer than the pulse oximeter uses, usually above 940 nanometers. In that range, melanin absorption drops off dramatically, so the light can penetrate much deeper, much more reliably, across all skin tones.
So using longer, invisible wavelengths of light could solve a lot of these problems.
It's the key. By moving into the near-infrared, you essentially bypass the main filter, the melanin, and get a much cleaner signal from the blood vessels below. The entire field of biophotonics is built on mastering these light-tissue interactions.
So we started with a simple question about blue veins on our wrist.
And we ended up in the world of quantum physics, medical device bias, and the future of non-invasive imaging.
We discovered it's all an illusion, a complex trick rooted in Rayleigh scattering, and the fact that our deep venous blood is a thief that steals red light.
Your blood isn't blue, your veins aren't blue. The color you see is just a ghost. It's an interpretation your brain makes based on the light that didn't come back.
So next time you look at your wrist, remember, you aren't seeing what's there. You're seeing what light decided to come back. We're all walking, breathing optical illusions. Stay curious.
And here's the final thought to leave you with. If we know that pushing into the near-infrared spectrum beyond 940 nanometers dramatically improves light penetration and reduces the bias from skin color, do you think future medical devices could go even further? Could they use wavelengths up to, say, 1800 nanometers where tissue is almost transparent to completely eliminate skin color as a variable and create truly equitable medical technology for everyone? That's the challenge for the next generation.